It looks like a hummingbird hovering on air and sipping nectar from flower, exactly the same way like hummingbird do. Someone may confuse it with hummingbird when viewed from distance. But it's not a hummingbird. Actually, it's not a bird at all. It's an insect, a moth called hawk moth. It's an exact copy of hummingbird, since it has structural and functional similarities. The wing beat style, the hovering pattern, the nectar sipping strategy, and the foraging behavior with hummingbird. That's why it's called Hummingbird Hawk Moth. It has many species like hummingbird. In general, we know that moths are active at night, but these moths, the hummingbird hawk moths, are active at daytime, especially when the bright sunshine outside. They also active at dawn and dusk, even in cloudy day or even in rainy day, when most of the moths and other insects stay rest. They go out because they want to avoid competition with other moths and insects, and even with their counterpart, hummingbird. It has two forewings and two hindwings. They can beat their forewings separately and independently. Their wings are very strong. Their wing beats 70 to 80 times per second, and they can fly up to 19 km per hour, made them fastest insect on Earth. Hummingbird hawk moths' metabolism and energy burning rate are extremely very high. That's why they requires a lot of food and nutrition. Since the adult moths feed on nectar, that's why all the day they move from one flower to another for sucking nectar. Nectar is highly rich in carbohydrate and minerals that requires the moths for flying, hovering, and their body activities. Hummingbird Hawk Moth possess superior color learning abilities and vision. They have trichromatic color vision and they can make three-dimensional images. They can remember the flower where they sip nectar. Hummingbird Hawk Moth have some special sensory cells called Jonston's ovum. By the aid of special sensory cells and antennae over their head, they get environmental perception and signals. For the body positioning, exactly center of flower for sipping nectar. Hummingbird Hawk Moth flaps their wings and move very fast when hovering over flower and sipping nectar. But why they move so fast during sipping nectar? Because they have to get the nectar very quickly to avoid competition, and other reason is that many predators ambush inside the flower. They are very intelligent, that's why they move so fast to deceive their predators. Hummingbird Hawk Moths are able to remain surprisingly stable when feeding. Moreover, they can recover extremely quickly from disturbance that knock them off balance, often returning to feed almost immediately. Hummingbird Hawk Moths are one of the most prominent pollinators. They pollinate small and tiny flowers, tube-shaped, deep-lobed, funnel-shaped flowers in the wild, the forest, crops field, and even gardens as well. They are one of the most efficient insect pollinators. The flowers they pollinate, which is nearly impossible for other insect pollinators, and even for the hummingbird. Hummingbird Hawk Moth play a crucial role in nature, ecology, ecosystem, food chain, natural food system, and eventually for the healthy balance of biodiversity. Indeed, nature works in a very strange ways, and the Hummingbird Hawk Moth is a fascinating example of this. Two creatures, Hummingbird and Hummingbird Hawk Moth, from two different species with entirely different class and family lineage, and their last common ancestors are also different, but they developed, evolved, and adapted in the same ecosystem, ecological, and environmental conditions. And they come to resemble so much each other, not only in looks, structure, and function, but also feeding and foraging behavior and other functions as well. We can call the copy of each other. In nature, this phenomenon is called convergent evolution. And Hummingbird Hawk Moth is a great example of this. Why nature produces such an insect species that clearly mimic the hummingbird? Why this is needed for? Nature do nothing unnecessarily. Everything has a purpose. When changing environmental, ecological, and ecosystem condition, nature need to produce some species for smoothly run its own system. This is called natural selection. And the Hummingbird Hawk Moth is a product of natural selection. It's a survival mechanism that Hummingbird Hawk Moths have evolved as a species that so closely mimicking the hummingbird. They are diurnal. That make them more vulnerable to predators, though they have some camouflage in their wings and structure that makes first line of defense, but this is not enough for security. So, by dint mimicking a bird, they are able to stay relatively safe from the predators and are able to ensure the survival of the species. Communication system between hummingbird hawk moths are oral, vocal, and exchanging chemical signals through pheromones. They require a warmer climate to breed. Their breeding season begins in late spring or early summer. A female hummingbird hawk moth produces two brood each year, laying about 200 pale green eggs during each brood. The eggs, sometimes in a cluster or sometimes in a single, on the host plant. The eggs take 6 to 14 days to hatch, depending on climate and other conditions. Just after hatching, they start to consume the leaf and bark of the host plant. At this beginning stage, they look yellow in color and small black dot or small spike over their whole body. These caterpillar or larval stages, their only job is to eat, eat and eat. They eat a lot. The caterpillar or larva has 6 insta or growth phase. The caterpillar stays lasting for 4 to 6 weeks depending on climate and other conditions. The caterpillar have no developed eyes and brain. They can't see clearly. They can't make image. They can only differentiate dark and light. How to move, how to eat, and how to defend themselves is entirely directed from their genes. All of the instructions hidden in their genes, they are driven by their genetic activities. These caterpillar stages, they need to eat, and when growth is enough, they have to molt or changing the skin. One thing is unique of hummingbird caterpillar hawk moths is a spike-like horn in their tail end. It has numerous purposes to serve. They can make the balance when they move on the leaf or stem of their host plant. Sometimes it is as to deceive their predators. Most of the time, the bird think that tail end is the front end. That's why they get fear to hunt this caterpillar. On the other hand, some big birds or small animals fear to attack this unique caterpillar. They also have some other chemical defense that they get from their host plants. Most of the times, their host plants are so toxic for the other predators and animals and bitter in taste. That's why if a predator seeing this caterpillar, they think twice to hunt this. Some caterpillar has unique colors, the color band and color patterns for better camouflage. Some caterpillar has the snake-like structure over their head and body. That's most of the predators fear this unique caterpillar. Even after all different defensive strategies and defensive system, they can't avoid their enemies. Some parasitic wasps lay egg on the body of the caterpillar, and the caterpillar grow on the caterpillar, and eventually the hawk moth caterpillar die off. When the caterpillar are fully grown, they stop eating and go down to the ground. In the ground, their only job is to find a secure and suitable place to hiding in the soil, because this is much more important for making a cocoon in the soil. Cocoon in the soil make a hard layer shell and turn gray in color. The duration of cocoon or pupa stays for 3 to 4 weeks, depending on climatic condition. After 21 days from cocoon, they emerge as adult moth and started hovering over flower and sipping nectar from flower. In nature, the adult hummingbird hawk moth lives up to a few weeks to up to 7 months.